Back for episode 4. What day is it today, Andy?
It is December 8th, 2017.
All right.
Episode 4, back for more.
Another day, another blunt.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of which, this is about as sober as I've been for any of these episodes, so maybe we'll make some real points. I am going to get to smoking, but usually we got at least 1 or 2 in us before we even get started.
We'll get to talking once we fire up what I got, dude.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to bomb up this sonic screwdriver. It's supposed to be sativa dominant. I smoke heavy sativas, man. I get to rambling.
It's called Sonic Screwdriver?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. That sounds kind of fun and dangerous. That's my style.
What you got?
This is the LA Confidential. We got it that was the same place, right? Shout out our clinic, I forget.
Yeah, Patient's Choice, Broadway.
Patient's Choice, that's our spot. I love that shit. $100 ounce, baby.
It can't beat that with a stick.
Yeah, and I got, I forget what my shatter was called now. Was it somebody's name? Oh, it's
Hippie Chick.
Hippie Chick, yeah.
Hippie Chick. Love smoking that Hippie Chick.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I don't know, I don't want to sound unappreciative, but it's probably not my favorite wax I've had so far, but it's alright.
Yeah.
You can't go bad with that shit.
Gets the job done for $20 a gram.
Yeah, I don't remember what kind you had a couple batches ago, but maybe that was just because it was like some of my first hits, and the shit'll never taste that good to me again.
Right, yeah.
Be chasing that dragon for the rest of my life.
Nostalgia.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, well, we'll get warmed up with this LA Confidential so we don't hurt ourselves on that screwdriver shit over
there. Yeah, for sure. Well, we need that to mellow us out a little bit. Actually, I don't even know what the genetics are in LA Confidential. It might be a sativa too, man. We might be rambling like we did Coke or something here in a minute.
No, this one's Indica.
Is it?
Yeah, that other one I got was a hybrid. That was a sour diesel hybrid, I think.
So that'll bring us down a little bit, mellow us out, and then the screwdriver will amp us back up.
Bam! All right. I'll be our little halftime squirt. Cool, so what you got on your screen over there? Or you wanted to talk about...
Oh, yeah. Well, what about the show we went to on Wednesday, man?
Oh, man. This was my first... I think this was my first show of hip-hop in Denver that didn't have a national headliner. It was called Women Crush Wednesday, WCW. We met this nice young lady named Kayla Ray at the restaurant we went to on Taco Tuesdays. She's cool as hell, and she invited us to this show. I had no idea what the level of her involvement was going to be, or what the event was even really about.
We just knew it was all women performers. That was pretty much all we knew going on.
Yeah, we had this tiny little ticket that was about as big as 2 pieces of gum, and it had like 9 different girls' faces on it, and we're like, hell yeah, let's go check this out. So the vibe was lovely. Everybody was in a great mood, and just so much love in the room. The music was really good. There was a couple of girls who were rapping and singing, a couple who were just rapping. Jay Trupa was... no offense to the other ladies, but she was, I thought, the best MC of the night. Personally, what do you think?
Kayla's homegirl?
Yeah.
That chick was tearing the mic up.
With the flannel? Yeah, she was killing it.
I've only been to a few hip-hop shows here in Denver, and she was killing that mic better than any MC that I've seen up here. No offense to the guys that I've seen already up here, but she was doing it.
She had mic control, she had crowd control, you could hear her, much love to Jay Trupa. And then, of course, Kayla, she was the damn headliner. The girl we met on Taco Tuesday, she blew my mind. Like, she was amazing. She sang her damn ass off, and she had such stage presence. Holy cow. She looked so comfortable and ready up there. Like, so I wish I had a little more money. I talked to her about it that night, but if I had a little more money, I'd be flying her ass out to Minneapolis to rock that Nelly T.I. show with us.
She was definitely doing it, man. I was impressed, too, how she was the headliner, but she never mentioned that. She told us 8 o'clock sharp, be there at the beginning of the show. She was posting on Instagram with the same thing, trying to make sure people got there to get everybody.
Man, that's so classy. That's a good observation, man. Yeah, I didn't even realize that. But yeah, she was on at 11 o'clock, and she was telling everybody, be there at 8, be there at 8, be there at 8. You don't get that type of love from all artists. I promise you that shit.
Yeah, man. Granted, it was probably about 75% R&B. The show, I've never really been to a lot of R&B shows, but like you were saying, the vibe in the room, man, it was super positive.
That's probably why it was chill, right? Because there wasn't a bunch of fucking gangster rappers in the room.
Yeah, it was cool, man.
Yeah, good shit. So shout out Denver Hip Hop. Shout out WCW. We met Rosa. I don't know what her radio name is, but I think she's from 104.
107.5 here in Denver. It's like our big hip hop station.
So she was hosting it, and I could tell like she seemed really comfortable up there. And so I hollered at her, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm one of the radio personalities here in town." I'm like, "Well, that makes sense." Yeah. So good shit, ladies. Good shit.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to go see another one of those. They do one.
Yeah, especially if it's on Oh, and that wasn't Taco Tuesday. We went and got some crazy food from, I forget what that spot's even called. But
that's Gibby's backyard over there.
Gibby's. We got a Tuesday spot. It's called Scooters, right?
Yes, sir.
And our Wednesday spot is called Gibby's. So come fuck with us. If you're in Denver, I'm not in town every week, but yeah, you might fuck around and run into us up there. Come drink a beer with us.
Do it when we're doing it.
Yeah. So woman cuts off cop. What's your headline over there?
This one's funny. This one's real funny. So the headline is: Woman cuts off cop, parks in police chief spot while smoking weed and talking on the phone.
Oh my god.
This fucking lady.
Holy shit.
This lady, it's in Northport, New York, basically Long Island, right? She's on her way to court for a marijuana possession charge. She cuts off a cop as she's pulling into the parking lot, an unmarked police vehicle. Then she parks in the chief of police spot, clearly marked for the chief of police to park there. When the cop comes up and approaches the car, she rolls her window down. Weed smoke comes billowing out of it.
Wow.
Like, come on, man.
Come on.
What are you even thinking? People really do that? To me, that sounds like a made up story, man. Is bots writing shit now? Because you can't be any stupider than that.
Right. That's the Associated Press is reporting that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's for real. Pretty much anytime you see something in cannabis, they've checked their sources. That's a legitimate story. But I mean,
yeah, it's hard
just
to imagine.
mind blowing how silly people could be.
Well, maybe she's smoking on that screwdriver shit you got over there.
She didn't have she was ramped. She had her mind racing. She's like, I gotta get to court. Gotta smoke. Gotta park. Didn't pay attention to none of the details.
Man, that lady's a mess. I wonder how many other fucking just ridiculous mistakes she makes in her life.
Yeah, plenty, I'm sure.
Operating like that, holy cow.
Yeah, she's 26 years old. I'm surprised she's gotten this far and she ain't in jail if you're making decisions like that.
Right. Goodness.
But, that's the kind of stuff, too, that gives weed smokers a bad name, man. Not everybody is that stupid. Not everybody's out driving around, not paying attention to what the hell they're doing, cutting off cops.
That sounds like defiance and bad attitude as much as it does weed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to pin that on being absent-minded, but that's just a bitch who doesn't give a fuck.
I didn't think about that. That was probably when she was getting ready that morning, doing her makeup. She was already getting high, like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
I gotta go to court for this fucking ticket. Yeah. No. I'm getting high on the way. I don't care what they say. I'm gonna be high in court.
I'm gonna do what I want.
She executed.
Shit, I've been high in court, but I didn't smoke on the way there.
Yeah.
Come on. Smoke at home before you leave. Don't be an idiot.
I haven't been to court in a long time, but I'm pretty sure I've been high in it. So, I mean, there's times in my life when I was high every day.
Right, just a safe assumption.
Yeah.
I don't think I can tell you an exact story either, but I was like, yeah, I'm sure I've been high in court. I ain't here to judge, but come on.
Matter of fact, now that I'm thinking about it, the last few times I went to court, I was definitely sober because I was got myself into a little bit of trouble where I almost got a DUI. I ended up getting off on it and everything, but I wasn't smoking then because I thought I might be on probation. I didn't want to be dirty when I went in. I wanted to be clean right away.
Sure, yeah.
So those few court dates I had to go to, I was sober for all of them. Most paranoid I've ever been in my whole life, man. Sober as fuck, thinking for sure I'm about to get locked up. Yeah, that was no fun.
Terrible. Well, I'm glad you, sound like you ran into a merciful judge. You didn't do anything.
Yeah, I got lucky. I don't have no priors. I got a pretty clean record. And I'm pretty good at talking my way through bad situations as long as there's a route to be taken. And I had a good lawyer too. That's the key. Up here in Colorado, they just made the DUI laws even more strict now. First DUI is automatic jail time, and they're treating marijuana DUIs just the same as alcohol. So if you're up here in Colorado, don't be driving around high or drunk, because they will lock you up real quick.
That's one of the things I've noticed. It's counterintuitive, but it's part of the deal. Like if you want a little give, you want a little take, you got to give a little. Yeah. And this is the only legal state, recreational state that I really spend plenty of time in. And there's far less smoking drivers here than anywhere else that I go, where people just seem to not give a fuck.
I think it's like going back to when you're a kid and your parents just tell you no, you want to do it even more. When you're allowed to become a little bit more respectful of the rules and what you've been given, and try not to have those things taken away from you.
I would make a handshake with the state. Like if the state just walked up to me and was like, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to let you smoke at home and not bust your balls, and you can have it in your pocket and shit. But you got to promise us you're never going to smoke and drive again.
Yeah.
And I do that.
Especially with Uber and Lyft and everything now, there ain't no reason.
Yes. I love Uber. So we got quite a few interesting things. I don't know if we'll actually get to them all today. Some of them aren't really time sensitive, so if we run out of time, we can push a couple of them off. But I stayed up late night smoking, finding some kind of fun stuff to talk about. That's not necessarily news in sports. Good news, official announcement. We are live online. Well, not live with the show right now, but you can go and now we have a home. www.milehighpodcast.com.
Mile High Podcast. How did we get that name, man?
Yeah, we got lucky.
That's
Shit.
awesome.
I'm sure there's going to be somebody out there mad as fuck when they start seeing our ads.
Yeah.
And we got, we couldn't get Mile High Podcast Gmail, but we do have an official Gmail now. It's milehighmorning@gmail. So if you got any questions, any comments, that's the way it's going to work for now. You can also we have a Facebook page now as of today. That's also Mile High Podcast. So facebook.com/Mile High Podcast.
Get on it.
So yeah, we're looking to start connecting with some people. We got about 75 or 100 likes in our first day with our Facebook page, and half the fun is going to be interacting with you guys and you guys calling in some crazy questions and calling us out on our bullshit. I look forward to that too, because every time I'm listening to my favorite radio programs, they when they read some emails, they be sure to include some of their haters and some of the people who are trying to call them out. So that's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, by the end of today, Shark Party, what we were telling you guys about in episode 1, I think.
I think it was 1.
We'll have the actual video up finally. I'm going to be taking some of the audio off there. We're going to be trying to make an intro here for the show, an official montage for the show intro, and I'm sure that'll have a little Shark Party in it. We'll see. I'm going to do that probably today.
Where'd you find that video at?
It wasn't that hard, actually. I just Googled Shark Party Anthony Jeselnik, and the thing popped up. So
he was making like the government wiped it from all existence or something like that.
Yeah, it sounded like they went fucking Blackwater on that thing and tried to make the thing disappear. But yeah, Al Franken, God, that's... So I just vouched for Al Franken a couple days ago, and now the dude resigns. That's tough, man. I keep getting duped by these guys, like Garrison Keillor, duped. Charlie Rose, duped. Al Franken, duped. So shit, man, I gotta get my guard up, or I gotta like...
Somebody new dropping every day, man.
Man, and then we just saw last night that the now former Oklahoma senator just got caught with a 17-year-old male prostitute.
Oh.
They were smoking weed in the hotel. It was the only thing they were doing right.
Like I was saying, man, it's getting hard to surprise me with these stories now, man. I'm just assuming that everybody's doing something bad.
Yeah, I guess so. Man, this goddamn computer has got everybody on the interweb and these phones. We got everybody's life's on blast.
Yeah.
Man, did you hear what happened down in San Antonio where his dad was in a Popeye's chicken and somebody comes in there, tries to rob the place, makes the mistake of pointing his fucking gun at this guy's kids.
Oh, Jesus.
The guy killed him. Shoots him.
Wow.
I don't know. Actually, I don't know if he killed him, but he shot his ass. Like, oh, no. He shot his ass dead.
Yeah, I think you're justified in that situation.
Oh, yeah. Talk about at least a temporary moment of insanity if somebody's got a gun at your kid.
Well, if you're waving around a gun, whether you're pointing it at kids or not, if somebody else is holding a weapon and they're licensed to have it and know how to use it, take them out, if you ask me. Yeah,
I wonder how that all works. I mean, he's lucky he's in Texas because they're going to have a little bit of understanding down there for shit like that. They might give him an award. I'm not saying he did anything wrong, for fuck's sake. Now, if they look at the video and the guy's in there waving the gun around the room, and yes, in doing that, the gun was pointed at the kids, and then the robber turns his back and the guy shoots him in the back, that's going to be a little different story, I think. You know, they're going to pick that shit apart step by step.
Oh, definitely. Gotta look at the details.
But, you know, who knows? Who knows where that robbery would have went if he didn't do that? Maybe he saved somebody's life. So there's good arguments for both sides.
Yeah, even if he did turn around, he had his back to him. You don't know if he was going to turn right back around again, you know?
You know what you do, though? Shoot him in the fucking leg.
Yeah.
You always shoot him in the leg, man. I mean, come on. If you're toting your gun and you're confident enough to pull it out on somebody, you got pretty good aim, most likely. Especially the people who are conceal and carry. It's a little different than, like, some fucking thug who's going to pull his shit out sideways and spray up a room. But I'm saying, you know, somebody, especially down in Texas, you know most people know how to handle guns. Shoot him in the back of the fucking, in the hamstring.
Well, I think, I don't know what they teach civilians who take their carry courses, but I'm pretty sure they teach law enforcement shoot center mass.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's why we have so many dead people, because they shouldn't be.
But I mean, that's just, that's their instincts. When you're in a situation like that, you're not thinking about, can I take him out in the leg? You just pull and you do what you're taught to do, It's instincts kicking in at that time.
Well, instincts and what you're taught are two different things, because instincts are kind of what you naturally should be doing without any training.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The training that they get is what's giving you those instincts. That's why you train.
Well, I agree the training's fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it, and that's why, like, in Minneapolis, or St. Anthony, just outside of Minneapolis, when Philando Castile got killed, murdered by that cop, that particular police precinct had received, I want to say it was 350 hours of training, and only 3 hours of that was de-escalation training, and something like, I can't remember the number, but some ridiculous effing number was all about taking out the target. Shoot to kill. Target practice. If nothing else, they spend 15, 20 times the amount of their time on the shooting range than they do trying to de-escalate learning how to communicate with people.
I remember when this story happened, now that you mention it, and with the way the police are trained. And now that I'm thinking about it, Governor Jesse Ventura said that the big problem with Minnesota and many other states in our nation, we don't have police academies anymore. He says that they just aren't training their police properly anymore. There's no academies like there used to be.
Really?
And it's way too easy for a guy to go through simple training and get out on the street with a gun and then is not ready to deal with those intense situations.
I didn't know that.
I haven't really looked into it. I remember that was something I heard him make an argument about, though.
What in the world? How can you have police without a police academy?
Yeah, I don't even understand. I don't even know how they're trained now. I'll have to look into that, but I know that was something that he said.
I don't know, man. It's broken. I think some things are kind of changing. They were changing a little bit before Buttface showed up, and now he started reversing everything.
Way to avoid the name.
Yeah.
We ain't got a timer yet.
I feel like I don't even want to say his name anymore. If you ignore him, maybe he'll go away. Doubt it. Yeah. All right, so Baker Mayfield won the Davey O'Brien Award last night, which is not quite the Heisman, but still a pretty big honor, I suppose. I'm not a huge college football nut, but I did see that. It's kind of on the fly. That was a kid who got in trouble for grabbing his dick and telling the guys to fuck off and all that shit. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
So he was, I think he plays for Oklahoma Sooners, and they were playing against like TCU. It was a pretty big rivalry, and they go out to do the coin flip at the beginning of the game, and there's two little kids there who I guess were with TCU maybe, and Baker goes to shake the other captain's hand, and he just stone colds him and doesn't shake his hand in front of everybody, and Baker like kind of playfully, he's like, oh, okay, and he claps his hands like, all right, okay, I see how it is. Well, the game progressed and just got worse and worse, and he got cheap shotted hard when he was rolling out. He had already gotten rid of the ball, and he got laid out like kind of under the chin. Shit got really chippy. Well, he was going up and down the sideline, yelling to players on the field, telling them to fuck off, throwing them the bird, grabbing his dick, and all this shit. And so he had to do this. And he's the Heisman leading candidate, So he came out right away the next day and was damn near crying about how he let his team down and he's supposed to be a leader. And I think it was a genuine response, because he wasn't just saying what he needed to say. Like, he was coming off the top of his head, and it seemed like some emotional stuff. He was embarrassed for himself, He expects more out of himself. I don't know much more about the guy. He seems like kind of a gunslinger as far as his football style, which I like that. I like that style of quarterback. He's super competitive. He reminds me of a little edgier Tim Tebow, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the name. I don't really know much about him. With the state of Nebraska football right now, I haven't been paying much attention to college football. That's kind of how my college attention span goes. Nebraska ain't doing nothing. I'm not that interested until it gets to the end of the year.
Yeah, well, we're down to the playoffs now, right? I think the last four teams, I can't call them off the top of my head, but I think it's Wisconsin, Clemson,
Alabama, and Georgia.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, Alabama's going to win that shit, but I'll cheer for Wisconsin, even though they're my bitter rivals as a Golden Gopher in Minnesota, but I would much rather see someone from the Big Ten with 12 teams or 13, still calling it the Big Ten, so fucking stupid. I'd rather see one of them win.
Yeah, all right. Brings money back to the Big Ten. That helps Minnesota and Nebraska.
Kind of brings a little bit more credibility to any conference win that any team in the Big Ten has as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Ohio State's been up there killing it. They were still kind of in the mix this year.
Yeah.
So, the videos that I'm going to be putting up, obviously I just said Shark Party on the website, milehighpodcast.com. Put up that one about that jaguar yanking that croc out of the water. That was so crazy.
I told you that's a thing. You were out here about a month ago. I was telling you about it. We never looked it up though.
I couldn't quite remember the circumstances, and he's, spoiler alert, if you don't want to hear what this video looks like, then push mute real quick.
It looks exactly like you think it looks like when we're telling you a jaguar killed a crocodile.
Here's the part I forgot though, is that the fucking jaguar, he was up in like a tree or up on a pretty steep bank.
Yeah, he's up above the water there.
He dives completely underwater.
Oh yeah.
You can't even see the fucking thing.
Yeah.
All the way underwater. A second or two later, you see a struggle. You're like, what the fuck is going on? And he drags a full-size gator. He's got the thing bit around its mouth, so it can't bite him back.
Yeah.
And
Cats don't fuck around, man.
Oh, it's so cool. You guys got to go check that out.
Yeah.
I'll put that up today on the website. I'm gonna try to have like a little playoff scenario thing too. We talk plenty of football, and probably most of our listeners are interested in football. So I'll put the Al Franken resignation. I got kind of sidetracked there, but yeah, he's resigning. I didn't dig too far into what developed in the last couple of days. Besides that, there was a couple of female colleagues that were calling for his resignation, so there must have been another case of sexual harassment.
Yeah, the headline, I didn't read it, but the headline I seen was Franken resigns amid sexual assault allegations or something like that. So maybe something new came out and he was like, alright, I better just step down, or maybe they're just getting to the bottom of what originally happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think he tried to mansplain his way out of that and apologize, and that's what I was giving him credit for, and I'm not trying to backtrack because I did feel like it was a genuine apology, and maybe I'm wrong in that something of that nature that you did 20 years ago doesn't justify losing your job now. Maybe we're going to move as a culture to where that is the case, and if that's the case, everybody's got to start over, because what's next is we're just going to find. We'll start calling girls out on this or that. We'll find something to try to balance the playing field a little bit.
If you look hard enough, you can get something on almost anybody.
We'll start going to cheating or promiscuity, or you had a baby out of wedlock, or we'll find some way to demonize some girls retroactively and go way back on them in some kind of, what probably seems pretty unfair. So hopefully this is a good movement. I'm not saying it's not, but in order for it to be like righteous, it can't be overreaching and be including people who maybe don't deserve to be treated like a criminal.
And you definitely got to make sure the facts are the facts, man, because just the allegations can ruin someone's life.
Yes.
For this kind of stuff.
Well, he's already admitted, at least in that case, that it's exactly what you heard. That's what I did. Yeah. And I'm super sorry for it. So at least, and I'm inclined to cut somebody some slack, and especially in the world of denial. Everything, especially like the whole ruling class, takes no responsibility for anything when it comes to their personal behavior. They want to impose expectations on everybody else, how they're supposed to act and shit. Just like, look at all these there's been one after another of these politicians who are anti-abortion, and then we find out that he was pushing his mistress to have an abortion, or they're anti-gay but they have a gay relationship, or some stuff like that. It's
bizarre, something wrong with their psyche to fight against the thing that you are, or the thing that you really feel like you are inside.
Well, yes to that, and here's what it is. They're sociopaths.
Yeah.
Sociopaths can lie with no remorse, and they get whatever they want out of the world and do whatever they want and just fucking lie the whole way through until they get caught, and then they still deny shit, or lie to themselves, and that's just a sociopath. I'm not saying that
those aren't the people that should be in power.
Hell no, but that's how you get to power. That's the way the system's set up, is you lie your way to the top.
Yep.
There's almost even like what they consider an acceptable amount of lying in politics. Like, that was on the campaign, and you gotta make accommodations, and sometimes you gotta say things to get elected. No, that's a lie. Except for you told it to thousands of people.
Yeah.
So we're dealing with some scumbags. Who knows? It'll probably always be that way though.
Most likely. There's always going to be scumbags. If there's good guys, there's always bad guys.
I mean, maybe that job requires scumbags to get it done. You know, like
scumbaggery.
Yeah.
Coined that term.
Scumbaggery. I like that.
Right.
You should have do scumbaggery, but then do it in the no smoking sign with the line, the red circle with the line through it.
Right. No scumbaggery.
That might be one of the next no fuck around shirts. All right, so shout out to Pearl Harbor Day and all of our veterans. Anybody involved in World War II, anybody who lost anybody back. I think it was December 7th, 1942.
I'm not even sure.
I could have that year wrong. I'm sorry for anybody. I'm probably sounding like an a-hole, but I do know that it was December 7th, and my heart goes out to that whole situation. I saw a pretty cool program yesterday. They were asking American soldiers and Japanese soldiers their perspective on the whole thing, and I had never heard two different conversations. I had never heard, at least from an actual person who I think was there, how the concept of the kamikaze pilot came about. And it wasn't like from the government down. It wasn't some philosophical thing that a lot of the culture shared. He named one person in particular who, when the discussion came up about, well, what do you do when you run out of fuel? There was one soldier who stood up and said, I'm finding the nearest target and I'm taking it out.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, one by one, people started falling in line. That became the thing to do. But it wasn't like something that was part of their, deeply rooted in their culture or anything like that. And so they wanted to correct that historical account because it groups too many people into that mentality if you think about it as like part of their culture and their philosophy, Yeah. Like, oh yeah, Japanese are fucking nuts. They're kamikaze. No, man, it was a fucking a group of these people. They're already nuts because they're flying planes in the 40s in a war. They're already fucking nuts. Much love for Harbor. Oh, and the other second part of that story that I wasn't familiar with was that a sneak attack. Everybody knows that. That's not white people history. That's not American history. It was a sneak attack, and that was confirmed, at least in this program, to me, because I held that with a certain amount of weight, thinking, well, that maybe is just the way the Americans wrote history, because that's the way shit goes,
Yeah.
We all know that. But they had some Japanese soldiers on there who were talking about how it was disgraceful, and like that's not. And even a general, I think one of the generals maybe resigned or something in the midst of that because he felt totally misrepresented by his army,
Yeah.
So that was cool to hear that there was some integrity and some honor that had been violated on their own ranks. Not everybody was in on that foolery. So a lot of lives were lost on both sides that day and the next couple of days. Holy buckets, man.
Yeah, that was the beginning of a chain of events that led to a whole lot of lives being lost when we decided to drop them bombs over there.
Yeah, Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
That, you want to kick a hornet's nest, that did it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You could see how the vast majority of the population would be mad at the very few amount of people who made the decision to attack in secret like that.
Yeah.
Because really, I think the rules of war where you weren't supposed to be able to attack before 8 a.m. or some shit like that. I thought I heard they actually set a time, or maybe like at least the Japanese soldiers there, the majority of them thought that the attack time was 8 a.m. and then all of a sudden they heard it was happening before that. So a lot of them didn't even know about it,
Well, they used to have all kinds of crazy unspoken rules about war stuff you weren't supposed to do here and there, and like the World War for the first time where a lot of that really started to change. Yeah. They're like, we got to do what we got to do to win.
Well, then the Geneva Convention that's exactly what that addresses is all the rules of war. So there are some very clearly stated ones. I'm sure there are some unspoken ones still too, but yeah, I mean, some of the most atrocious things humans can do to each other occur in wars.
Yep. Let's move on to a lighter note.
I agree.
You want to check out Dumb Smugglers this week?
Yeah, Dumb Smugglers. Bah, 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 bah.
So this is a good one. The headline is, a true boatload of weed. 6 tons seized in the Mediterranean Sea.
That's 12,000 pounds for those of you who don't know what a ton is.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
So apparently they were saying there's been a bunch of seafaring nautical vessels that have been getting busted over in this area in the Mediterranean.
I didn't even know they smoked weed like that.
Yeah, there's not too much info really about what's going on over there in the story. They're just kind of saying what happened. So these people are trying to smuggle all this weed in a tugboat. Now think about that for a second. What's the worst possible kind of smuggling vessel you could have on the sea? Those are like the slowest boats they make.
You're not gonna get away.
They got mad horsepower. Like you might be able to just keep ramming the cops once they get next to you, but you ain't going nowhere fast. So these people are trying to run. The cops are firing shots off in the air, trying to get them to stop, but they just won't stop. So like I picture in my head this slow ass tugboat, vessels all around them, cops firing guns, stop, and the tugboat's just still going 5 miles an hour.
It sounds like a scene from a Will Ferrell movie or some dumb shit.
Yeah, that definitely didn't go as planned, but I thought that was pretty bizarre, man.
The cops just jump in and swim over to the boat.
Yeah, man. Let me try and drive some weed in a Flintstones car. Foot pedaling that shit, dude.
A lot of places over there, I mean, there's a lot of places over there where weed, you'll get thrown in straight, like some mean-ass prison for a while. Like, I want to say... I mean, at least I know in Southeast Asia and in the Middle East, there's some places where they don't play that.
You know what? That can take us into another story, Saudi Arabia, where Nelly's about to be doing that concert.
Oh, right.
And that kind of ties into what you got going on, too. You want to talk about that real quick first?
Yeah. So
have we talked about that at all, that show?
I don't think so. I don't think it was on the...
So Nelly and T.I. you're going to be opening.
Yeah,
right?
we just found out my band No Fuck Around Gang is opening for Nelly and T.I. in Minneapolis on December 21st. So
go check that show out.
Yeah, because you guys know I would have told you a few days ago had I known about it. So that's how quick this shit can pop up on us. We're ready to rock. Shout out to CLM Presents, my guy Cato, the promoter over there. It's at the Club Myth in Maplewood, which is the biggest club in Minnesota. And yeah, there's not. I think we're the only opener, or maybe my guy Kid Automatic. I think he told me he might be doing it too. So it's a big opportunity. I'm very excited for it, very thankful. But yeah, so back to what we're talking about is Nelly. He got told officially that he can't rap about weed while he's doing his concert in Saudi Arabia, which is just like on December 17th, right? That's 4 days before.
It's on the 14th.
14th, so it's 7 days before he rocks with us. He's going to be rocking Saudi Arabia, for God's sakes. I didn't realize Nelly was rocking Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, so this is only like the second big American performer that's gone over and did a concert since they're like... Right now, I guess apparently they have like a new 32-year-old crown prince, and he's trying to reform stuff back to let the people be able to do what they want a little bit more. He started like this $1 billion thing for, they call it the General Authority for Entertainment, and it's basically just trying to revitalize their leisure activities and stuff like that to get people, not be so afraid all the time anymore. Ironically, the only other person who's performed there this year yet so far is Toby Keith when the Prez was over there. Toby Keith went over there and did a concert.
So they like country music. Nelly's kind of country hip-hop.
They put the same restrictions on him, though, because a lot of his songs, I guess, I've never really listened to them. But they're about weed, they're about chicks, drinking, about all that stuff. Yeah,
I think he had the Red Cup. He started the whole Red Cup movement.
Yeah, so he couldn't do any of that stuff when he went over there, and they're telling Nelly all the same stuff. And, like, his main song, Hot in Here, he talks about all three of things that he's not supposed to be talking about.
Right.
Take your clothes off. Women are supposed to be fully clothed. You know what I mean? He's talking about smoking weed. You can face the death penalty for smuggling there. You can go to jail just for possession.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But so I looked into this a little farther, and another really strange thing about it: there's no women allowed at the shows. It's all male.
Oh well, jeez.
Yeah. All male, and it's restricted on what he can sing about. Hopefully he doesn't accidentally say some stuff he's not supposed to and get tossed in jail and doesn't make that show a week later.
Whoa.
Fingers crossed.
Whoa.
Right?
You just blew my mind right there, homeboy.
Right?
Fuck, I hope that don't happen.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll be fine.
Nelly, you better keep your head on your shoulders there, man, and do your job and get back home. You gotta rock.
Don't be getting it too hot over there.
Yeah, don't get too hot in there, and keep on all your clothes.
Yeah, that's dope though. They got that new crown prince, man, trying to do some social reform.
Yeah. So I have a really good friend of mine who's from Iran, and we went to high school together. He had only been in the States for a few years by the time he got here. We spent a lot of time together. I just talked to him yesterday, but he was the first person who helped me understand the difference between what people consider themselves as like Arabs and Arabics and Middle Easterns versus like a Persian. There's an Iranian and there's a Persian. And the Persian Empire obviously stretches like way back to fucking Mesopotamia, like way back. Maybe not quite that far, but it's way back. But the cradle of civilization, damn near.
Isn't that who Leonidas was fighting 300?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they pretty much ran the world. It's got a really rich history with art and all kinds of stuff. And they were really laid back, and they kind of liked to party. They weren't like the fundamentalists of the Arabics, you know, where they wanted to take away all of that. Well, nowadays they seem to characterize that as Western culture. When you're having fun, maybe you like to drink, maybe you like to smoke, maybe you like a little sex. Well, that shit existed over there for eons and eons before we ever did it over here, although we do it quite well. But yeah, so Persians basically, on the surface, it looks like they just identify with a more Western set of morals, but they're really just doing what Persians been doing.
Right, doing what they do. Wolf being a wolf.
Yeah, but he's introduced me to a lot of Persians, and they're fucking cool as hell, I think, man. They party, a lot of them are, you know, really got great jobs and are really good friends, and, you know, good stuff.
Yeah, man, people get a bad rap just because people from that part of the country all look really similar. They all have very different cultures.
Yeah.
At least they look similar to us in our eyes. You know?
Sure.
You can see an Indian guy, Persian guy, Middle Eastern guy, and everybody, ignorant Americans, will just think it's all the same thing. It's not, definitely.
Sure.
I knew a really cool Indian cat, man. His family gave me my living room set up there, my couches and my chair.
Mm-hmm.
I was helping Cat out with some stuff he had going on, and they're super friendly, man. They're awesome people. They're always trying to cook for me and stuff. Mm-hmm. I got the sensitive stomach, so I couldn't really eat too much of it. They were trying to cook, but it was awesome.
Yeah, I love the Indian taco, man. That's one of my favorite things on the planet.
Yeah.
You had that fry bread. You gotta know how to cook that bread, though. It's funny. They're all. So I dated a girl from the Minnewacan Sioux tribe for a few months last year, and my DJ is also from the Minnewacan Sioux tribe from the Red Lake area in Minnesota, but they get really competitive about their fry bread.
Yeah?
Oh, man. They talk shit about it behind each other's back. It's like at the powwows, like they got a few different fry bread stands, and they all got their kind of like who their followers are, you know. It's super clicky.
No, I don't fuck with homeboys bread. Let me show you who's got the good shit.
Oh, I tell you, man, dude. Yes, you get them started on it one day, and they'll be telling you about, you know, because the recipes and their processes go back through their family. You know, it's a lot more bigger part of their culture.
They're not reading off the back of a box.
Yeah, I wish I had some fucking recipes I felt passionate about. I do actually. My mom makes some dumplings that most people call them dumplings, but she calls them clays. It's like a chicken soup. She puts the whole chicken in there, takes all day, obviously takes all that stuff out of there. I ask her to just put the white meat back in. When I'm not eating it, she puts probably a lot other cuts of meat in there, you know. But I like to be able to eat it while my eyes are on the TV and just scoop bowls of it in, and not have to watch what I'm eating and shit, you know. But and then she puts like the dumpling is basically like egg and yolk and a few other things. I mean, flour and egg yolk and a couple other things, and then she scoops little spoonfuls of it, and it boils in there, and then they kind of like harden up a little bit. It's kind of like, it's a little different than the other dumplings I've had, but I think they're better, but I'm biased. Shout out Mama. Love you, Mama.
You're always gonna like your mom's stuff the best.
Yeah, and her mom, I remember my grandma making that for us, so the clays have stretched back some time in my family. My mom also does peanut butter popcorn bars.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, they are.
I was gonna say,
take your fucking teeth out of here.
I was out in Minnesota with Slick one time. I mean, I don't know if it was Common Family you guys have, but we stayed at one of his cousin's house, and his aunt made some stuff in the morning. It was kind of like a pancake, but not really. It was something else. He said it was something that was really common up in that area. I want to say he was calling it like panna cooking.
Oh, the Panakukadoos?
Panakukadoos?
Oh, well, there was a restaurant. Oh, I haven't heard that word forever, man.
Yeah, it was bomb, whatever it was.
A panakukin is a certain kind of thing. It's like
kind of like a pancake, right?
Yeah, but it's got stuff in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's out. Imagine like a pancake burrito, but with like sweet stuff in it. Yeah. I'm talking like fruit and whipped cream and fucking shit like that. Yeah, and so Hoos is like house, but they had Panakukin Hoos was one of the restaurants in Minnesota forever and ever, and man, they went away. I could go for one of those right now.
I'm telling you, man, we were out drinking real heavily the night before, and we woke up super hungover, and his aunt had a whole big like hotel pan of things already all whipped up as soon as we woke up.
Yeah, that's like
town on them.
Finnish pastry or Norwegian pastry or something like that. Yeah, oh, so bomb. Just made me hungry as hell.
Yeah, it was a good time. Shout out to Slick's aunt.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what side of the side of the family he was with that day, but I should find out and have him make me some panakuchen. Yeah, I'm gonna find you panakuchen. I'm gonna find you.
If it's somebody in your family, Bob's like, I'm going there when I'm back next week.
Yeah, hell yeah. Shit. Unfortunately, those are not a mailable item.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a couple of funny things here. I guess the new thing people are doing, like there's ice bucket challenge and all these funny things. And I don't know what even the purpose of this is besides people getting attention, but I happen to like Saturday Night Live, and that's probably the only reason I opened this link, to be honest, because Saturday Night Live did their own version of the Invisible Box Challenge. But you basically, to describe it to you probably poorly, with the video be on milehighpodcast.com, you basically identify with your hand an invisible box, and then you make actions around it, and it's almost like miming, basically.
Right.
So these people are like looking like they're stepping over an invisible box.
This is hipster miming.
Hipster miming. That's exactly what we're looking at right here. This is hipster miming, and
you can make noise and shit.
This is some like what Justin Bieber and Usher would do to try to look fancy on stage, maybe, or I don't know.
I bet you could get a gymnast to do some real cool stuff like that.
Yeah, these people are all knucklehead actors. I mean, they're good knucklehead actors, some of my favorites. They're not break dancers. I could imagine a break dancer using that concept of moving around something invisible and blowing your fucking head off with it.
They could probably bend their whole body into a perfect box and make it look like they're laying on it. You know what I mean? Do a spin around it.
Oh, man.
There we go. There's a challenge for any break dancers out there or gymnasts. See how cool of an invisible box challenge you can do.
Yeah. And then send it to us at milehighmorning at Gmail, because we'll put that on our website. That's a really good idea. Anybody else who wants to do the Invisible Box Challenge, hopefully we didn't just clown it enough where you don't want to do it good. Or do it so bad that it's funny.
Yeah.
But then send us a video. We'll put it up on our website. That's fun shit. Good stuff.
That could be interesting.
Yeah. Man. Kind of on... Nah, I guess it's not really the same thing, but that video I showed you right when I woke up this morning, it was the first thing I saw this morning. Was this 16-year-old girl or so. She was dancing in her room and she set up her camera.
Oh, man.
And she was about to go do some kind of dance. I'll try to find this and put it on the website too, now that I've mentioned it, but she was doing what looked to be some specific dance that, thank God.
She was feeling herself too, real good, wasn't she?
Feeling herself, yeah. I'm glad I don't know the name of this dance, because that would put me in a certain area of life anyway, but so she starts dancing, and I'm telling you, she did almost fucking nothing. She lifted her one of her legs up just like to her foot to her knee height, maybe out to the side, like and then she lifted up just a little higher the third time. Her other knee straight fucking just dislocated, broke or some shit.
Yeah, it was gone. It was just gone. And immediately she was screaming, her tongue out of her mouth onto the ground,
like she was getting stabbed and raped.
Yeah, man, it was no good. My stomach hurt when I seen that video. I felt so bad for her. She was getting after it there for 2 seconds, man. She thought she was about to have the highlight video of the month, and her knee said,
She went from going viral to downward spiral.
Poor girl.
Oh, man. And then her brother was like knocking on the door. You could hear him and like, what's going on in there? And all she could do is, and she couldn't even say any words, and he just kicks the door open. And by the end of the video, he's like, the mom comes in and she's like, what happened? What'd you do? And he's like, I didn't do anything. He's like, I just kicked the door open. And then I think he was getting yelled at for kicking the door open. Yeah. While the girl's sitting there screaming about her knee.
I thought she was dying, Ma.
Well, Mom, get your shit together and help the fucking girl with the knee who's dislocated. Don't yell at the kid for kicking the door in.
And teach her some proper dance moves, too.
She was dancing like a fool. That's why she had her door locked. That's why she had to... Yeah. She's about to be shaking her booty or some shit. That's
she's putting unnecessary stress on them knee joints, man. You need to teach her some...
Man. That very little bit of performance, and it does that, like, that's like an 80-year-old woman to get that bad of an injury out of nothing. I don't know what the hell happened. That was strange as hell.
She's got bad knees.
Wow. We're just kind of running through a couple of headlines here. When we hear crickets, I just look at my notes. But
I got some real quick.
Okay.
Shout out to my boy back in Lincoln, making his amateur MMA debut this Sunday. Mike Whitaker, man, my dude, man. All we did was get in fights when we were kids, and this cat was like the top bruiser out of the crew, probably, especially for his size, man. If y'all are anywhere near Lincoln, Nebraska, check him out Sunday night. You're gonna see something spectacular. I guarantee it.
I don't know if he has a nickname yet, but if not, I'm coining him Knockout Jenkins.
Yeah.
I hung out with Mike back in the day, and shout out to his older brother Blaze too. We haven't really talked much lately. We ended up getting parting ways over Trump, honestly, online, and because I just couldn't stand listening to what the fuck he was saying anymore. But shout out Blaze. Well, anyway, we were in Lincoln doing a show one night, and we were at a house party with Mike and my cousin Jason Slick, and I don't even really remember what happened because I was pretty fucked up, but I do remember a brawl broke out, and I'm pretty sure Mike saved my ass and knocked somebody out who was about to knock my ass out or hit me pretty good or some shit. That's just, I'm pretty sure that's a story. Maybe if we have Jason on, we can have him recant that story because he's got a really good memory about that stuff. But, so yeah, Knockout Jenkins, the best of luck on December 9th.
For sure, man.
Go catch him in Lincoln. Where is it? Do you know the place where it's at?
I'm not exactly sure where it's at, but I know it's Dynasty Combat Sports. It's on Sunday night.
We'll post on our website about that as well. Put up a little flyer for it, so if anybody's in Lincoln, they want to go check them out.
Do your thing, Whit.
Yeah.
Finally get to knock people out legally.
Get paid for that shit, homeboy.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
What else we got?
On a positive note, I know it's not really a positive subject, but it is a positive result and some justice finally, is that fucking piece of shit cop who killed Mr. Walter Scott down in South Carolina. He got 20 years in prison. And it's, to my knowledge, this is the first conviction for murder of any police officer in America.
Who did you say
while
was he
on
shot?
the job. The name is Walter Scott, of the guy who got killed. And I don't know enough about the guy. I just kind of saw this on the fly, but I wanted to shout out just that justice had been served.
Oh, yeah.
Or at least some degree of justice. I mean, it would have been nice if he got life, but at least that's a step in the right direction.
One conviction will lead to a second, will lead to a third, hopefully.
Yeah, right. That's a huge thing to have just the first one.
Yeah, instead of them just, telling them they got to retire and sending them on their way with a paycheck.
Right.
It's a big step to actually start locking them up.
Yeah. And I mean,
not that we hate cops or anything, but people make mistakes.
We hate murdering cops.
Yeah.
Fuck. Good cops make the country work. Bad cops, fuck you, die. No judge, I feel like, wants to be the first one. So shout out to whoever that judge is, man, for being courageous and doing what's right. And even I'm sure you're going to suffer backlash in your community and on Fox News or whatever. From most of America, we thank you for having the courage to put that conviction into place. That's big. For sure. So Annheiser-Busch, they're on the Tesla train too, man. They ordered 40 Tesla semis.
That's big, man.
Yeah, Walmart, I want to say, ordered about 20 or 40 of them, and now Busch ordered them. I don't think these things are even in production yet. I could be wrong. My dad is pretty well versed on Tesla. He made a bunch of money on them last year. He got out of it already because he said they're having a hard time keeping up with production, even with just their cars. Like, they're way back. They were talking about doing, now again, don't quote me on this, but I think they were talking about doing 5,000 cars a month or something like that was what they wanted to be doing, was what their company was basically valued at, but they were only doing like 150 or something.
Yeah, I've heard something similar to that. Doesn't sound good.
No. Well, according to my dad, it wasn't because the technology's bad necessarily, but they're using some pretty rare products in their vehicles, and particularly, I guess, these tires, or I don't know if it's these wheel hubs or these brake systems or some particular part that was holding up the entire production line was coming from like one company, and Elon Musk basically decided to just start his own company that would do that shit because he was sick of relying on this third party who wasn't, or the second party, I guess, who wasn't picking up their end of the bargain. Who knows? That dude's a born problem solver. He'll figure that shit out. I mean, the vehicles are obviously amazing. There's not been a single bit of bad press, I don't think, about the vehicle themselves or the engineering or there being any flaw or limit to it. It's like future to develop. It's just basically making promises you can't keep on providing them to people. That's a bad problem to have, I guess. I mean, fuck. Every business wishes they could sell 100 times more than they can provide.
Maybe he'll figure it out. Or maybe he's worried he ain't going to figure it out. And he's blasting off into space to go drive his Mars car around. He's like, uh-oh, I see the end coming.
Elon Mars. He's not even Elon Musk anymore. His name's going to be Oliver Mars, like Steve Wynn's is Oliver Vegas.
He's going to own that planet before we even go there.
He's going to have a Musk when we get there. So, Black Mirror Season 4 comes out December 29th, baby.
I'm excited and nervous. Shows make me have strange dreams.
Yeah, those are some of the best shows that I feel like I've seen in the last 10 years.
Like, I'm all about the, when you start watching something to binge watch, man. I'll finish whole seasons of stuff in a few days. Could not do that with Black Mirror, man. You watch one of those episodes, and you have to, like, ponder on them for, like, 72 hours at least just to process what you saw in your head and how it applies to our life. Now, if you've never watched Black Mirror, that's probably the number one thing I could recommend to anybody to watch, because if you don't know what the Black Mirror is, it's basically our screens that we stare at all day long. Our phones, our computers, our TVs. You power that thing off and look at it. It's the Black Mirror. And basically the whole series is dealing with how technology is affecting our life and how it's going to continue to affect our life in the future. And the craziest thing on there is the computer eye contacts that these people basically have. It's a common theme throughout the seasons. Like, probably 50% of the episodes people have it. And it records everything you see. You can play back old memories. You can hook up to other people's eye computers and watch their memories. A lot of crazy stuff, man. And I've seen prototype models for these types of things on the internet now. I don't know how real they are, but
well, science fiction is always, I mean, if you can think it, somebody's working on it.
Yeah, science fiction kind of builds our future in a way, and that show is a mind fuck.
I've heard it often described, which just feels accurate, as the Twilight Zone with technology.
Yeah, definitely.
It's eerie. It's very
Season
well
4,
written.
we'll see what's up with that. Give me some nightmares.
And a few of the actors I've seen come off of there have landed some bigger roles. So like they have a really good casting, young, unidentifiable casting, and that's part of, I feel like, what gets their story across. Is it's not, unless as they get bigger, maybe with bigger budget they hire bigger names. But the way it's been so far is you almost always don't even recognize anybody in them. Part of it is that it's a British thing, I want to say. It's made overseas, but
The girl from the new Jurassic World movies, she's in them. She's
And-
in one episode. That's a good one.
Did you ever see Get Out?
I did not.
You know what it is, though? Ooh, it's basically it might be done by the same people who did Black Mirror. I can't remember, but it's considered like the first legitimate black horror movie this last year. I think it got nominated for some stuff.
Yeah.
But it's got the kid. You remember the episode where everybody's on the treadmills forever and ever?
Yeah.
It's that kid.
Yeah.
And he's dating a white girl.
Yeah.
And he goes to a white neighborhood.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
Oh man, it's a good movie. You should watch it.
Yeah,
I watched it like 3 times because it was. I wanted to show people it.
Yeah, there's I've noticed a few people from Black Mirror now later on, like it's kind of a catapult for them.
Yep.
Yeah. One other thing about that show, you don't watch it in order. It doesn't have any kind of significance in that way. Read each episode, read the description of it, see which ones sound the most interesting to you, and then watch them. The one episode I always tell people don't start with is the first episode of season 1. In my opinion, it was the worst one. I'm going to spoil it for you right now. The guy has to fuck a pig in the end of it. It's kind of interesting, but...
Politician?
Personally, yeah, politician. Personally, I would watch that one last, because if you start with that one, it kind of turns you off to the rest of it a little bit.
Yeah, that one's not quite as creative, I don't think.
Not nearly as the rest of them. But so read the descriptions on the episodes and then just pick one, and then get ready to have your mind blown.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to watch it twice, like a day later or something, because there's a lot of stuff packed into them, a lot of little subtleties and cool ideas. Really talented writing staff there. So we're getting close to an hour, so we'll wrap it up here pretty quick. But I do want to do a quick playoff update, so I'll bring that up while I'm mentioning this other thing, and we'll briefly just touch on this concept, and if you want to know more about it, check out the really cool YouTube video that's going to be on our milehighpodcast.com. Also, pay attention to the people who create these videos, and go ahead and look through a couple other ones, because they basically, I think it's called Nutshell. It's like some Swedish name, and then it's called Nutshell, and they take these pretty broad ideas, pretty worldly, pretty really progressive, like forward-thinking ideas or technology that's coming, or vast questions, and break them down into these really cool animated little shorts. They're about between 5 and 10 minutes long. I feel like I've taken the information really effectively from this. I don't know if it's the visual or the way the guy's talking or whatever.
A combination of the two.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't feel. It feels like you're getting a lot of information, but you're watching a little cartoon.
That's a big part of for a lot of people to be able to understand really crazy, complex ideas like that. You need somebody smart who's able to present it to you in a very short and understandable way. Exactly. Especially for people today who are so on the go all the time, on to the next thing. You only got like 5 or 10 minutes to really delve into a subject if you're not even sure if you like it. So that's a valuable thing for people to do that. That's what I really like about Neil deGrasse Tyson. He has a way of telling you in one paragraph something that's really complex you can never understand on your own, and he'll just break it down for you.
It's almost like translating.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I want to call it dumbing down because they still present it very, intellectually, but it's kind of what it is, I guess.
Well, I mean, if you're talking to some super high IQ person, it doesn't offend me if they dumb it down a few points for me.
For sure. I know I'm definitely not usually the smartest guy in the room, so.
Yeah. So, all right, well, the concept that I want to introduce, and this is kind of a cool, maybe just a cool weekly thing where we'll give you just a few sentences on something you probably never heard about, or you maybe heard a headline about but don't know much about. And you'll be able to go on milehighpodcast.com, and there'll be one of these nutshell video that you can learn a lot more about it and see if you're more interested. So what I want to talk about today is called universal basic income. And it's the idea that some people think this is a substitute for welfare. Some people think it's a supplement, so it would add on to welfare. There are countries and little pockets of economies that are trying this right now, but they're talking about, what if they gave everybody the same amount of money, pretty much?
Right, basically enough to pay your rent, but you still have to do other things, right?
Well, if you watch this video, they dive into the faults of it, how it could work, why it wouldn't work. If you made it too much, would people stop working? What are the
Yeah.
So it's just a cool conversation, and believe it or not, I mean, right off the top, it almost sounds like communism, really. Because if everybody has a job, the government takes care of you in communism. But it's not a very free society, obviously. So it's an interesting conversation that people are legitimately trying right now. So it's at least worth watching for a few minutes to expose yourself to some new ideas.
It's generally a free check with no strings attached. You're not giving over control to the government for certain parts of your life, which is what would lead more into communism. Mm-hmm. Then it could be a good thing. Yeah. You're definitely going to have lazy people that will take advantage of it, but you're always going to have lazy people one way or the other.
Yeah, so it's a cool conversation. Check it out. Most people, I would say most people have some negative things to say about the way the economy in America works right now. Capitalism is failing a lot of us. It's failing everybody from the top 0.001% down. It's failing the middle class for the most part, and it sure as hell is failing the lower class. Our economy, I'm saying. Capitalism mixed with democracy, the way it's set up, this recipe is failing a lot of people. We should open our mind up to some different kinds of economic approaches and philosophies.
There might not be an ideal system, but you always want to try and make changes on what you got and improve it, I suppose.
Yeah, and it should hopefully, especially the way the world's set up now, where we have a global economy, but you also are really empowered with your access to the internet and ways you can network and ways you can set up just small little networks that do their own things really effectively, like co-ops, how people breaking the farms back down to smaller networks, and so there's a mentality of reestablishing these small effective networks instead of being part of some massive you're just a cog in the wheel kind of thing. Well, it'd be nice if you could set up your own little economy and you wouldn't be necessarily dependent on the way all the taxes work and all the fucking bullshit that we're all subjected to. You can do that in a lot of ways of life. You can do that in the educational way. If you want to homeschool your kid, you can detach from the system. You can also almost detach from the grid electrically now. For the most part, if you have enough money, you can set up your own medical for a lot of, but we're all still subjected to the same economy. And it'd be nice if there was some alternatives to that. You guys are going to fall in love with these little animated shorts because you can hopefully tell by my enthusiastic endorsement that if you want to get smart and not put a lot of time into it, watch these.
Be able to sound real smart in a bar debate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'll give you just enough firepower.
You don't know shit. Let me tell you something about the universe, bro.
I'm going to try to tie in something positive to this. I just watched something really mind-blowing right before we came down here. I went to school for psychology. I've had a couple really close friends of mine and a couple friends of my mine's parents killed themselves over depression over my lifetime, and so it's definitely a subject that hits close to home for me. And I just saw something online about one of the 19 people who have survived a suicide attempt jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge. There's no way anything I can tell you right now is going to have the effect on you that you need to have and see when you see this video. So please go on to our website and listen to what this amazing person has to say. But there's been 2,000 suicides off the Golden Gate Bridge, and 19 of them have lived. If you've ever had a close encounter with depression, watch this story. It's inspirational. If you're on the fence of feeling like you maybe should reach out but haven't made that commitment yet, or you're still feeling like there's something wrong with you because you reach out, like, this is the type of video you need to see. Because this guy is a motivational speaker now, and he goes around and tells his story and basically just encourages people to reach out when they need help. There's nothing wrong with it. And he makes a good point. He says addicts and people with disorders are some of the last illnesses on the planet where the person who has it is considered responsible for it instead of subjected to it. Like, you're not usually considered responsible for your cancer. I mean, maybe if you have emphysema after 80 years of smoking, but people still treat you like a victim pretty much usually, you know. But if you're an addict, or you've got paranoid schizophrenia or delusional disorders or anything like that, you're outcasted, you're considered a criminal. A lot of people end up homeless, obviously. You know, it's really sad. So if you struggle with depression, it leads to a lot of other things. Watch this video and reach out to somebody. There's people out here to help.
You were talking about this a little bit earlier. One point that you were saying, the guy was talking about, I think, if anybody who's having messed up thoughts like that out there to think about, is all 19 of the survivors, right, said that immediately after they left the bridge, that their hands left contact with the bridge, they regretted it.
Every single one of them.
So think about that if you're having bad thoughts, man. It's very common for the survivors. They regretted it instantly.
Instantly, before he ever hit the water. Yeah, now he says every day is the most magical thing to him. And I know it sounds cliche, but when you hear it straight out of somebody's mouth that went through something like that, it means a lot more than hearing it from me. So go check out the video. We'll get all these videos posted today. Right when I hop off here, I'll go fill up the website with all this stuff. So
one more thing I got. So I know you're not too big into boxing. For the smaller guys, there's this dude fighting on Saturday night. You guys might not even hear it, but you'll probably be able to go back and watch it later, because you guys probably won't have this episode in time. But Saturday night, Lomachenko, this dude is I'm pretty sure his nickname is the Magician.
I saw a commercial for him.
Yeah, man, he's badass. He was born in a boxing gym, basically. He's been doing this his whole life. I've seen him fight live once, and I've watched a bunch of his highlights. He does things in the ring that you've never seen anybody do before. He's kind of like Roy Jones in his movement, the way he can move around his opponents, and he's never where they want him to be. Check it out if you want to try to get back into boxing if you gave up on it. Lomachenko, Saturday night.
Good shit. All right, guys. Well, that wraps up episode 4. I'm going to get this edited and put up as quick as I can.
Keep listening.
See you guys.